It's a Saturday night at BC Place. The Lions haven't been home for nearly a month since beating Montreal in Week 1. Well, tonight, they're 1-2. They got a rematch against Winnipeg. The Bombers beating them badly last week. But BC's made a big change at quarterback tonight, Matt.
10-year veteran Travis Lulay is making his 70th career start tonight. First in the last 10 months, fifth in BC's last 48 games. Says he wants to play fast and confident. I believe he will.
Adam Big Hill returning to BC. Big Hill in the past games, the best middle linebacker in the Canadian Football League. Route recognition. He makes those holes tight for quarterbacks to fit the ball into.
A lot of players want to be leaders, but few can handle it. Matt Nichols is a true leader, and you could see it last week with his return to the lineup. He inspires everyone. And with him at the helm, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are pretty tough.
Yeah, they are. They got in last week. He came back. They won 41-19. So the rematch tonight to wrap up Week 5. Welcome to the CFL on TSN. We're back. Rod Smith, Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stegall. And Travis Lulay is back as well. He gets the start. Jonathan Jennings struggled, but so too did the entire team. Yeah. If Lulay is healthy and can be the Lulay of old, what kind of difference can this make to the Lions?
He can make a big difference. And unfortunately, I've been on some teams where some quarterbacks were pretty bad.
Yes, you have.
As a player,
yeah, a lot of them.
And as a player, you start losing confidence. I don't care how optimistic and positive you are. You start thinking to yourself, can we win with this guy? And with this new guy in there, I guarantee those players are saying, hey, we got a proven winner in there now. Let's go out there and get it done.
Hey, you saw what happened to Winnipeg Blue Bombers last week when Matt Nichols came back, and they weren't in a bad situation with Chris Streveler. Now you get to Travis Lulay back, and we saw what he did last year when he came in. Just really lit that football team on fire. Affected every aspect of that football team, raised everybody's level of ability around him. He'll do that tonight.
We'll see. We get kickoff coming up. It'll be interesting. Give me one quick thought. 2 seconds.
Talk about the defense. This defense is
the last
in the league.
You see what happens?
Last in the league.
That pass over his head, and Big Hill's got the interception. That's a protection, but it's intercepted. It's Big Hill again.
I know I'm much better than that.
Offensively right now, we're not in sync at all.
Who gets the start in the rematch against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Wally Buono and the Lions would like to start Travis Lulay.
I think my role as a quarterback is to give ourselves a chance to be on the field so we can score some points. We want to give ourselves an opportunity to win this football game.
Brian Carruthers of Winfield, BC. You can win groceries for a year if the kickoffs return for a touchdown in this game, thanks to Safeway Sobeys $1 Million Touchdown to Win promotion. And should it happen a second time in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Brian. Off to BC Place for the Lions and Bombers. Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Rod. Breathtaking day on the West Coast. The roof open for the rematch. It's the Bombers and the Lions reconvening at BC Place Stadium to wrap up Week 5.
Well, changing quarterback for the BC Lions. Travis Lulay gets start number 70 in his career. 309 days ago was the last time he started a game back on September 8th, 2017. And one of the reasons he is starting tonight is the play of Adam Big Hill last week against Jonathan Jennings. Former BC Lions. BC Lion had 2 interceptions and took 1 back for a touchdown.
Big Hill and Mike O'Shea's Bombers have won 14 of their last 20 on the road, and a win would move them into a second-place tie with Edmonton in the West. On the other sidelines, a much different story. Wally Buono says this is the week the Lions have to rebound. They've allowed over 40 points in 2 straight games for the first time under Wally Buono's leadership.
Last week, Chris, the Lions just did not match the intensity of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's what I'm looking for first.
So Ty Long puts it on a tee. Newcomer Taylor Henry is back along with Johnny Augustine. And the rematch is kick-started, and it will be Henry across the 20-yard line. And a good return up beyond the 35.
Matt Nichols got his first start of the season last week. Went 162 yards passing and 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Nichols gave this football team a lift, and that's no disrespect to Chris Streveler, who started the first 3 and played very well, won 1 of them. But this is Matt Nichols' team.
5-3 in his career against the BC Lions. They'll start at their 36, and here's Andrew Harris, over 100 yards last week in the first half alone, and a good first down pickup. Bo Lacombo, the tackle after 6.
Yeah, over 100 yards last week against BC. This team is rushing for 167 yards per game. That's first in the CFL far and away, and the reason for that is their offensive line, anchored there by Suk Chung, who went to Terry Fox Secondary here in the Lower Mainland, Port Coquitlam.
Big gathering of the Chung family here to cheer him on tonight. 2nd and 5. Nichols out of his hands quickly to Harris, trying to get the edge. It does, and has a first down. The Bombers #1 in second down conversion early in this season.
Had 4 catches in that game last week for 22 yards, so was used more along the ground with those 12 carries, 109. But Matt Nichols gets him out of the backfield early. Nice stiff arm here on Gary Peters to pick up the extra yardage to move the chains.
Got 10. Bombers have a first down at their 52. Through the reads, and Darvin Adams over the middle can't hang on.
Well, it wasn't just quarterbacking that was the issue for the last 2 weeks for the BC Lions. They need to get more pressure up front. Matt Nichols said that he did not get hit last week from that defensive line. Odell Wills got to play better along with the entire group. That includes Solomon Elimimian. Leads the team in defensive plays, but they've got to stop the run tonight. And a change at corner, not just at quarterback. Marcel Young is out. Winston Rose takes that spot.
2nd and 10. Looking downfield for Adams. And does he hold on? He does. In coverage was Lacombo, but Darvin Adams moves the chains once again.
Matt Nichols looking the coverage off. You get Bo Lacombo in a trail position, and Darvin Adams with a double move. Outside fake and then back into the middle. That ball put right where it had to be.
Adams, a touchdown last week, was targeted 10 times, only 3 catches, but 66 yards and a touchdown. First down, line 37. And it's Harris again. High stepping inside the 5. Touchdown. Opening drive, touchdown of the former BC Lion. Continues to haunt his whole team.
Boy, it starts with the guys up front, and this time Andrew Harris untouched to the end zone. He starts to the left of your screen. Basically, option read play underneath. Only one guy there on the edge had a chance to make the tackle for the BC Lions. Every other defender blocked up, and away goes Andrew Harris untouched.
Had a 43-yard romp last week, 37 for the touchdown here. That didn't take long. Third touchdown run for Harris, his 4th overall. Clock adds the convert, 5 plays, 74 yards in 2:24. Andrew Harris off and running again here at BC Place. CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Have we mentioned how nice it was here today?
Supposed to be good weather for a couple weeks here in Vancouver, and former BC Lion Andrew Harris untouched to the end zone. Tight end set for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nice run set from Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, and Harris got a great block from that tight end, SFU alum.
Medlock the kickoff, fielded by Chris Rainey. And Rainey doesn't reach the 25. And take a look at the Harris gallop to the end zone.
Well, Harris starts to the right of your screen, and watch 59 right there. Michael Couture kick him out. That kicks out Otha Foster, opens up the hole so Harris can hit it untouched. No pursuit from linebackers. They got picked up or lost in the wash, and Andrew Harris walks in.
So now It's Travis Lulay time. 5th start for the BC Lions in their last 48 games. And the first since September the 8th. So makes the handoff, and a throw for Burnham is incomplete.
Yeah, it was the second play in that game, September 8th versus Montreal, when Travis Lulay went down, had won that job back from John Jennings after the injury last year, and that was it for his season. 309 days ago, and he's back. Wally Buono makes the change after back-to-back games, blowout losses.
2 400-yard-plus passing games, including one in a comeback against the Lions. A draw play, and Jeremiah Johnson off and running. And a cutback across the 40 for a first down. Johnson had 80 yards last week. He actually had 4 carries for 52 in the first quarter, and then they got away from him.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm not sure. I don't understand sometimes with the BC Lions when it comes to Jeremiah Johnson. One, why they take him out at all unless he needs the rest. But the other is he is so productive, and sometimes they forget about him in the fourth quarter. Nice play fake there from Travis Lulay as well on the play.
So they convert 2nd and long on the ground. First down up beyond the 41. 4-man rush. Lulay, a little sidearm to Johnson, makes the first man miss, and rolls ahead near the 50-yard line. Javon Santos Knox with the tackle as we set the offense for you.
Manny Arsenault is ranked 26th in the CFL in receiving. That is just not right. Travis Lulay's got to get him involved early, and the job for the 2 tackles, Figueroa and Olafioye, if they choose to accept it, is try to contain Jackson Jeffcoat and Tristan Opalaugo.
That Winnipeg front 7, 4 sacks last week, along with Big Hill's pair of interceptions. 2nd and short and straight ahead. Johnson runs hard again to the 50-yard line.
Let's take a look at the 2 ends. Opalaugo had a sack in the first series of the game last week. Jeffcoat 2 versus the Lions a week ago. Great bookends for Winnipeg on that defense. Adam Biggill, we talked about his 2 picks. One went back for a touchdown. Mo Leggett goes back to linebacker, played in the secondary last week, but they're going to start Marcus Sales at halfback. Kevin Fogg, the other halfback position. They'll be matched up against Arsenault and Burnham.
Missing former BC Lion Chandler Fenner out this week. A flag comes down, and Johnson running hard here. Maybe offside though against BC. Let's wait for the call, but a nice start for Jeremiah Johnson.
Boy, he's running hard, but the receiving corps for BC, there was 2-3 receivers that looked like they were in the neutral zone.
No end, BC. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Al Bradbury getting confirmation from the video official before making that call.
So it takes the Johnson call off the board, and they march it back to the midfield stripe, and it will be 1st and 15. Travis did mention there might be a little rust.
Well, that first throw looked a little bit off, but
working with the
to be expected for sure.
Working on the running game here to get things started. Got a couple of fullbacks in there to add to protection. Lambala and Mackey dump it off. Johnson again, and this time limited to about 3. Big Hill flying around. Tristan Opalaugo was there.
Yeah, Adam Big Hill making a difference. There he is right there. Watch him fly to the football and get involved again, making tackles. He drops underneath first to give some help to the secondary for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and then rallies to the football. Opalaugo helps him.
So 2nd and 11. Lions trying to stay on the field longer than they have in the last few weeks. Open receiver, and it's complete. And another first down as Manny Arsenault has the catch for 19.
That's the first test for Travis Lulay. First, 2nd and long. Get a little of that rust out. Got the running game going to just get his feet underneath him. Steps into this throw nicely. Nice zip on the ball and the right guy to throw to. Manny Arceneaux open.
You
That
mentioned
curl.
not in the top 25, just his 10th catch of the year. Brian Burnham, only 10 catches so far in the first 3 games. Lions trying to answer an opening drive. Bomber touchdown. First down. Lule gets hit. Ricky Collins to the wide side. And he gets bumped up by Ty Neal Cooper after a pickup of 7.
Well, Wally Buono said this week that he wanted Travis Lule to take a couple of early hits. And that may be surprising when a coach says that about his quarterback, but it makes sense because when you've been out that long and you've been rehabbing an injury like Travis Lule has been, you want to take that hit to know that you can. It just gives you that confidence. Know you can be in the mix there. Have a defensive lineman hit you, twist you to the ground. It's okay. The knee will be fine, and it looked okay there.
2nd and 3, 9th play of the drive. Chris Rainey in the backfield. Rainey takes the handoff, a little sidestep there on Jovan Santos Knox, who was waiting in the hole. And they'll be short of the first down, it would appear, but close enough that Lule is surveying, and Wally Buono might leave the offense in. Cody Fajardo and the short yardage group come on for the veteran head coach.
Yeah, it looks like it's inside of a yard, so.
And Fajardo in behind Cody Husband, and they should have it. Oh, it's the talk of the week. Who would start at quarterback in the rematch? And Wally Buono definitive in his belief it should be Lule.
I think the biggest factor has been, the fact that offensively, we've not been consistent. We've not gotten enough first downs, and we've not scored enough points. So, and honestly, it always falls back on the quarterback because, he's the primary person on offense. And, if you can make a change there and if it affects everybody else in the positive, then that's the easiest change to make.
Going deep into the end zone, jump ball, and he throws an interception. Kevin Fogg will bring it out. And here is Fogg up over the 20-yard line and runs it out. So flags fly at the end of the play, but Travis Lule picked off looking for Brian Burnham in the end zone.
And Chris Rainey's going to get unnecessary roughness.
So a promising Lion drive ends with Kevin Fogg's 2nd interception of the year. And it will be Bomber football.
This is the intended target right here in Brian Burnham, and he is wide open on the corner route. This is just a throw that Travis Lule wants back. It looked like he may have been throwing around the hand of an oncoming rusher, but you see a wide open Burnham on the corner route. That ball just comes out of his hand funny, and it is what we used to call in the old days just a duck. Didn't get tipped, didn't get hit, but maybe trying to throw around the hand of Oplugo there.
After an unnecessary roughness penalty against Chris Rainey, a first down at the 39. Wolotarski behind coverage. And a big play there as he got in behind Winston Rose. 48-yard connection for Matt Nichols to the 2nd-year man, Wolotarski.
It was just about Nichols trying to pull the trigger here because he saw Wolotarski get open on the play action, and now he's got to try and get it out there on the roll, and he does. Boy, Wolotarski in behind coverage, in behind the young 2nd-year Winston Rose by 4 or 5 yards.
Inside the 30, fly sweep, Demski bubbling back, and he gets dropped. Anthony Thompson, the safety, up to make the play.
Well, this is an important play for the Lions' psyche. I mean, opening drive, Bombers roll down the field, score when Andrew Harris is untouched in the end zone. And now after the Wolotarski catch in scoring range again, Matt Nichols converts here. Another hit to the confidence of the BC defense.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15, 4 receivers near side. Nichols with some time, gonna load it up, and that's up for grabs. And off the goalpost, incomplete. Looked like TJ Lee had a shot at the football.
Well, TJ Lee, he rolls back into the middle. You see him right at the top of your screen right there. And so he's basically dropping, being deep cover. They split it into two. So you got a cover two-man, it's called. Man underneath with two deep safeties over the top to help. And Lee was one. I'm not sure who the intended target was there.
Dressler, the closest man to it. Only miss for Medlock was from 59. This from 41 yards out. And off the upright and out, dead ball. And the Lions escape without any further Winnipeg damage. So a big connection to Wolitarsky. Got them into Medlock range. Rare miss. It remains 7-0 Bombers. Back at BC Place Stadium, Travis Lulay's second series to the sidelines. Farhan Lalji.
Chris, Travis knew there was a really good chance he'd be playing in this game as early as the end of the last game with the way that game went for Jonathan Jennings. Now, Lulay has felt the pressure really since the start of training camp to return, and he was determined that if he was going to say no to the team, that he wasn't ready, that had to come early in the week. So he really pushed himself for the second consecutive week to do everything he needed to. He got half the reps, but after practice, he stayed for about 30 minutes, ran pass routes so he could really put his leg through a lot of tests. And by the end of the second day of the week, he knew at that point that he was ready. He still went through the process till the end of the week, but he felt really good about it. He said, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I could play, if I thought there was any risk. I believe I can do everything required to play the position and win this game.
Well, he led the Lions on an 11-play drive to open. Jeremiah Johnson dropped for a loss, that time by Jackson Jeffcoat.
Got the knee brace on, but it doesn't appear to be affecting his ability to run or move in the pocket. We've seen that a couple of times in that first series.
Found it interesting that he even watched himself on film to see if what he felt was really what he was seeing as well. If there was any hitch in the way he ran. 10 months, 6 days after the injury last September. Second and long here, guns it for Arsenault. Got the catch and a first down in front of Maurice Leggett.
Yeah, you know, I think, Chris, when you've been an MOP in the league, you've been a Grey Cup MVP in the game, that you get the benefit of the doubt, and you haven't played in 309 days, you get a chance to, you know, the benefit of the doubt on that one interception throw in the end zone.
15 to Arsenault. They swing it to Johnson off the right side. And good defensive play made there by Mo Leggett. Excuse me, Manny Arsenault the catch, but Leggett the defensive play. So maybe a yard. Let's call it 2nd and 10. From the line, 39. Big Hill blitzing. Burnham, deep throw, incomplete. Corey Watson in the area too, and
well,
long incompletion.
Yeah, Ricky Collins and Corey Watson in the same area, and that's not by design. Either Collins adjusted, thought the ball was thrown to him or into the middle where he was supposed to go get it. But it just, this just didn't look right. Watch them both go down this. Now one's got to stay wider, and that's Collins, because it draws coverage to him. There's Bob taken down by Herdman. With a minute 32 remaining here in the opening quarter. Matt Nichols on an opening drive touchdown has the Bombers up 7-0. Well, last week, a decisive win by the Bombers, keyed by 4 consecutive touchdown drives from late in the first quarter into the second. Yeah, it was game over pretty early there. Matt Nichols in his first 2 series went 2 and out in both, and there was a little rust in his first start coming off the injury, but once he settled in, he had those 4 drives in a row, ended in majors, and the Lions in a big hole at that point.
And since they tracked the stats of consecutive drives for touchdowns, date back into 1995. It's the first time the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had ever scored on 4 consecutive touchdown marches, engineered by that man, Paul LaPolice. Holding penalty on the return, so the Bombers backed up at their own 17. TJ Lee up on the line. He's blitzing. They throw the other way. And here's Dembski trying to get outside, and Elimimian will wrestle him down.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
So 3 yards for Dembski. It'll be 2nd and 7. Elimimian, 5 tackles last week. Relatively quiet while his old running mate was making a lot of noise for the Bombers. Here's Dembski underneath, trying to get to the first down stick, and he will be close. Had to get close to the 28. Looks like they're marking at the 27. And it's going to be 3rd and 1.
Here comes Chris Strevler, so Michael O'Shea not even hesitating here. He was right down on the sideline, knew exactly where the ball had been advanced to. That was great second effort there from Dembski, because he was held a couple of yards short, but fought to get it close.
3rd and less than a yard. Strevler great in a relief role last week. Plunging ahead. 5 carries, 33 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the game a week ago, and also stayed in and threw 5 passes, completed 3. Looks like he's going to stay in this situation as well. So the same as last week, he converts on 3rd and short and stays in with a bunch formation near side and calls quarterback draw. TJ Lee up to make the stop at the 35. But that's a 7-yard run for Chris Strevler. So that's the final play of the opening quarter. A big start for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with the roof open as they drive the field on their opening series. Andrew Harris with the touchdown. Bombers with the lead. Great start for the Bombers, and another good start on the ground for the #1 rushing team in the league.
Yeah, they're on pace for over 180 yards rushing, which is ahead of their average, which is 1st in the league at 167 coming in. So yeah, the run game going as well. You know, whether it's offense or defense, if you can't win the line of scrimmage, you can't win in football. And that's where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been dominant against BC last week and in that first quarter.
Offensive line got a steak dinner because Matt Nichols didn't get touched last week. It seemed to be a little bit of a rallying cry for Wally Buono after he heard about it, and I think he probably challenged his team to make sure that Nichols couldn't say that again this week.
Although he's been clean and has been in this first quarter, so we'll see. They got the message.
2nd and 3, and Nichols looking for Adams. Tight coverage, but he brings it down. Nichols on the money, working. Adams against Anthony Orange.
Well, he's just going to take some shots, especially if he sees Anthony Orange up in press coverage like this. It's an automatic for a receiver just to get that outside free release down the sideline and then just drop it either to the back shoulder, or in this case, out in front of him, because Darvin Adams had a half a step on Anthony Orange.
28-yard connection, a first down to the Lion 47. Throwing the swing pass to Dembski, and he'll get dragged down by Anthony Thompson.
So part of it is Paul LaPolice and a nice balance in the play calling to get Andrew Harris. He's got some Nick Dembski on the fly sweep and things like that. And then the other is Matt Nichols and his understanding of the offense, because he gets the ball out so quickly. Wally Buono mentioned that part of the reason that the Lions didn't get there was because of how quickly Matt Nichols releases the football. He has a great understanding of where he wants to go with it, and he gets it out of his hands.
2nd and 5. The out is picked comes up with the takeaway for BC.
Well, he didn't throw many last year. Matt Nichols is one of those quarterbacks that just absolutely can't stand when he throws that interception, and that quick release this time was just a little bit off, a half a second off, and if you're throwing the out and your receiver is already at the sideline, it's too late. He's got to be throwing that when the ball's coming out of his break. So as soon as we say he's playing well with that great quick release.
Yeah, home watching mama.
He was a half second behind that one.
Second interception of the year for TJ Lee, who had a pair against Winnipeg late last season. Gets Lule and the Lions offense back out there. Over the middle, Rainey's got the catch. Up to the 47-yard line. Mo Leggett hanging on. And about 7 for Rainey.
He'll platoon into the offense. It's the #1 kick returner for the Lions. Leads their team in all-purpose yards. I really think the personality of their offense changes when Jeremiah Johnson isn't on the field.
Seeing this 2 fullback set. A couple bodyguards for Lule, second and short. They fake to Rainey. Rolly Labala the catch. Brought down by Leggett. It'll be short of the first down. Let's get to the sidelines. Here's Farhan with an update.
Yeah, we're not going to see Jeremiah Johnson anytime soon. He got injured early in the first quarter, did try to come back for one more play, came out and is in a lot of discomfort. It's his left ankle and his left foot. When he flexes that foot forward, there's a lot of pain down on his toes. They're trying to let it settle, and they may reevaluate him close to halftime. He may try it again, but won't be right away here.
3 carries, 26. He was off to a good start.
Really good start.
A couple of catches as well, 5 touches in the opening quarter.
So it'll be Chris Rainey. They usually rotate them in and rotate Chris Rainey into the game, but
third and less than a yard, and a deep handoff. He didn't get there. He's pushed back, and that was an unusual set for 3rd and inches, and the Bombers have come up with an apparent stop. Usually Cody Fajardo comes in that situation.
how much has Jeremiah Johnson missed?
Yep. And once again, it's the Bombers prevailing at the line of scrimmage.
Based on his 7-year resume, based on what he did last week, you better block Adam Bighill off the edge. Even in short yardage, he comes free here, unblocked, and he's the reason that Chris Rainey can't get the yard necessary to keep the chains moving. Bighill with first contact slows him up. And then the D-line, and I saw Taylor Loeffler in there as well from the safety spot. Better block him.
Don't get outflanked by what?
You know, Lule's not likely to sneak with his knee issues, but usually see Cody Fajardo, and here's Harris. Does he get the edge? He works against Otha Foster, who pushes him out at the Lion 38-yard line. That's another first down run for Andrew Harris.
Yeah, it's just play calling that keeps a defense off balance. It really is. And then when you have the O-linemen that are now getting that good push up front, let's just take a look at that group up front with down blocks all the way across the board. Now it gets just down to one player, and that's Otha Foster to try and make the tackle. And that's left to Andrew Harris to try and beat him outside, and he did.
3 carries, 54 yards. And here comes Dembski, and he busts it. And Dembski's down inside the 10. And the Bombers continue to chew up the rushing yards here in the first half.
He'll change up here. Again, Paul Lapalese digging deep into his playbook here to put Nick Dembski in the backfield. So he takes Andrew Harris, he makes him a wide receiver. He gets the BC Lions trying to count and figure out who's got who. And in the meantime, Dembski's running down the field.
#1 rushing team, averaging 167 per game of 88 here in the opening 20 minutes. Nichols throws back, and Harris was surrounded. Eliminian on the scene. There is a flag down near the Lions goal line.
BC, number 4. Half distance to the goal. First down.
So Gary Peters flagged for illegal contact.
That'll be half the distance. We'll take a look and see where Gary Peters, he's covering right here. There's Peters, that inside position on Darius Bowman. Bowman tried to get outside. He hooked him with the left arm. That's definitely illegal contact. Can't make contact like that past 5 yards.
Seemed to be simultaneous with the ball being thrown by Nichols. Wondered if there might be a challenge. No challenge. Andrew Harris, touchdown, Winnipeg.
Can't win the line of scrimmage, you can't win. That's what's facing the Lions right now. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. That's Winnipeg Blue Bombers are winning the line of scrimmage, whether they're running with Dembski, whether they're putting Andrew Harris in the backfield. Big guys up front are just straight down blocking, man on man, big on big, and moving the line of scrimmage 3-4 yards into the BC defense.
So Harris, a couple of touchdowns, doubles his rushing total to 4 majors on the season. And has 58 yards on 4 rushes so far. So after the turnover on downs, 4 plays, 49 yards in a minute 19. Convert added by Medlock. And Winnipeg doubles its lead up to 14-0. Andrew Harris continues to haunt his old team.
Let's take a look at one of the key blocks on the touchdown run. You're going to see McLennan try to come in here and watch Darvin Adams, the receiver, come down and pick him up, so he can't do what Adam Bighill did to Chris Rainey. He can't cut this play off from the backside because of a big block right in the middle. That's a receiver selling out for his tailback so he can get in the end zone.
Bombers already with and a short kick here, and are they on it? Looks like they are. Mike O'Shea into his bag of tricks, and Jesse Briggs, or Mike Miller, comes up with the football. Just about every week, something's up.
Well, I mean, this cannot be a surprise to opposing coaches that Michael O'Shea has a special teams, special play ready every single game. That can't be a surprise anymore, can it?
And fields it right at the 10-yard mark.
Well executed. What a kick by Medlock.
That was 10 yards.
Bang on 10 yards off the bounce.
Yeah, that was smart. That was perfect.
Games, you don't do that shit in accident, baby.
Mike Miller, the Acadia product, one of the top special teams guys, usually on tackles, made a catch last weekend.
It's fun, Chris, to practice these. That 10-yard mark, of course, the 45, and let's see where the ball is caught, and just over that line by a yard, 2 yards.
And the Lions all had retreated to midfield, so that's lots of room for Mike Miller to make that play. So right back to work goes this offense. I'm going to say over 200 yards of offense already. Here's Weston Dressler trying to get outside and uses that speed to get another Winnipeg first down. For Dressler.
Wolodarski was out there too. I just wanted to show you him, but
I knew you had a little tutorial today. Bowman through his hands. It's the only thing not working in this Winnipeg offense right now. Darius Bowman without a catch in 2 of the first 4.
Interesting that he hasn't been that involved in the offense. Just 3 attempts, the deep ball to Darius Bowman so far this season, and not one catch past the 20-yard mark.
A couple of years ago, 120 catches, 1,761 yards. Big Nademski handed off. Harris will be stopped short.
Two touchdowns for number 33 already tonight. The Lions have to fight out of a hole again like they did last week. Remember those 4 straight drives. Winnipeg put Majors on the board, and that was basically it.
Well, 2 turnovers by the Lions, and that recovered onside kick by Winnipeg kept BC off the score sheet, and Medlock surveying what will be a 50-yard attempt. Longest so far this year, 40. Up, and this time off the bar and in. So it's 17-0. Adam Bighill will lead the defense back out. Farhan Lalji, more on the former BC Lion when we come back. Well, so far he's continued to haunt his old team with more on Adam Bighill. Here's Farhan.
Still strange, Chris, seeing Solomon Elimimian and Adam Bighill being on different teams, formerly Team 100. But Bighill told me today it's actually not a shock to them. When they were playing with the Lions together a couple of years ago, they used to talk about how much longer this could last. They knew how rare it was for a CFL team to have 2 elite inside linebackers and pay them as such. When Bighill left the Saints, he was hopeful the Lions would be able to put something together, but he knew what they'd done in free agency, how much they'd spent, knew it was a long shot, and said it's probably better that they didn't try to insult me with a real lowball offer. As for his relationship with Travis Lulay, I said, look, you know he's hurting right now. If you get clean, will you hit him as hard as you can? He said, I've thought about it, and I don't know if I would. I would make sure to hit him perfectly, to hit him high, and to hit him clean.
Chris Rainey trying to light a fuse for the BC Lions.
Yeah, you can be physical and still play within the rules, and that's what Adam Bighill does. Whether it's a buddy, a former teammate in Travis Lulay, or any other player that he's going to hit. 509 tackles career, 33 sacks, 8 interceptions, including a pick 6 last week.
90th career start for Bighill, player of the week after the 6 tackle, 2 interception, 1 touchdown performance. Lulay underneath to Rainey. He gets bumped out by Marcus Sales.
Just all over the field. He's obviously a great run stopper. The 2 interceptions, he was just dropping underneath in cover, just underneath Burnham, and then watch him put on the jets and a little speed down that sideline to get it in the end zone.
Then he used to be a running back.
Interesting going into that game, Richie Hall was under all kinds of scrutiny in Winnipeg. People saying the defense is giving up too many yards.
2nd and 5, Lulay gonna take a shot, looking deep, and overthrows Ricky Collins by a stride. Trying to get in behind Chris Randall.
Just missed him. That's about 2 yards out in front of him, and it looked to me like Ricky Collins may have put his hands out just a split second too early and slowed him. Not that he would have got to that ball anyway, but a little early with his hands.
Ty Long blasts this punt. Log at his 11. And he'll run it out around the 27-yard line. Matt Nichols back out. Bombers really put last week's game away in the 2nd quarter, and an opportunity to do likewise here against the Lions tonight.
Has the one blemish tonight, but a nice 17-point lead on the road in the rematch against a team that you played last week. Well, you know the Bombers are happy with what's happened so far.
Admitted he was a little amped up early, missed a couple of throws on the opening couple of possessions. Got Dembski going here, and We're really showcasing the Paul LaPolice playbook, aren't we?
Yeah, it's an attack to the perimeter, whether it's Dembski. You saw that hit screen out to Weston Dressler. I mean, he attacks the perimeter. He gets the Lions defensively thinking that they've got to widen. They've got to make sure they keep contained and not with that crossing motion get all confused back there. And then as soon as they think they've figured that out, he attacks between the tackles with Andrew Harris.
Nichols had 162 yards passing last week and 138, and a flag flies, and like some early movement on that offensive line.
But you can see even Solomon Elimimian was before the snap.
Winnipeg, number 51, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Jamarcus Hardrick.
Watch 56 here, Chris. He's just trying to get guys lined up right, get them in the right gaps. Guys, that's because of the play calling and the offense that they're facing. And Solomon's trying to go, no, you're in the wrong gap. We get attacked there, it's another big gain. He's trying to get people lined up.
Hardrick, a former Lion. Suk Chung from Port Coquitlam. Matthias Ghost in the center from Richmond, BC. Here's Nichols on a roll. TJ Lee in pursuit. And a flag down in the Lions secondary.
That's why Matt Nichols held on to the ball for a little bit longer. I think he's one of his receivers.
Illegal contact on a receiver, BC, number 25. 10-yard penalty results in a first down.
So Winston Rose draws the flag this time. Second illegal contact call against the Leo secondary.
Let's take a look. He's out at the corner out here. Past the 5-yard zone there. So you can't slow the progress of a receiver after 5 yards. It's simple.
First down, Dembski.
You got to let him go. And Winston Rose, 2-3 years ago, before the rule change, could have got away with that on Nick Dembski. But after 5 yards, you can jam him up to 5 yards. After that, you got to let him go and run. Mark Washington has got a couple things to deal with at halftime. One is how they're going to be better against the run. And number two, eliminate some of those penalties for illegal contact. That's a couple now tonight.
Dembski with 4, 2nd and 6. Harris in the backfield. He releases and catches the pass, breaks a tackle, and another across midfield, and another first down.
Second down, Bolacumbo's got to make that play, and I know how difficult it is to tackle Andrew Harris. First guy rarely brings him down, and he had to completely pivot and catch that with one hand, bring it in with one hand before he could turn around and make people miss. He broke 3 tackles there.
DJ Lee, Solomon Elimimian, unable to bring him down.
So already approaching 100 at 85 yards.
From scrimmage in this first half, a little reverse. And here's Simonize, and he gets brought down back in the line of scrimmage as they get deeper into the playbook, but that time the Lions defense not fooled.
One thing I'm noticing tonight, and this is another sign of a great offense, is that the receivers for Winnipeg are blocking. I mean, when they're running these running plays or these quick hitches, guys like, Darvin Adams, who we showed you on the touchdown to Andrew Harris, Weston Dressler, they're out there. Wolotowski, they're out there blocking in that second level. When your receivers are physical and blocking, you're going to make some big plays.
2nd and 9, Nichols over the middle. Darvin Adams has dropped 2 over the middle tonight, an area that he usually isn't targeted.
Can't throw it any better. Can't throw it any better than that. Just when he clears coverage, the underneath coverage there from Anthony Orange, he just cleared that. Lukambo was on the outside shoulder, so the ball put right where it had to be, and that's just a flat out drop.
So Medlock to punt. Rainey awaits inside the BC 10. met just across the 15-yard line. First half that has seen the Bombers with 251 yards of offense. The Lions with only 99 so far. And an end zone interception and a failure to convert on 3rd and short. And Lulay's in a hole. Again, no Jeremiah Johnson, and Chris Rainey is the feature back now. Jeff Coat the tackle as Rainey has 5.
Well, if you're a BC Lion fan, the good news is that you're still in striking range. They can go and regroup at halftime, get Travis Lulay a look at the iPad and see what he saw in the first half. He's settled in now, 9 of 13, 70 yards. The one bad throw for the interception. But it could be worse. Could be a lot worse.
Well, they give the benches the 3-minute warning here. Bombers by 17.
When a Scandinavian sanctuary surrounds you and an award-winning
Back in the studio, getting closer to halftime, we got a former Lion, we got a former Bomber, we got a guy who played for both, and we're going to talk about Winnipeg's continued dominance over the Lions and the one-game suspension to Dylan Wynn of the Argos for the hit on C.J. Gable as well. Lots to talk about at the half. We go back to Vancouver now to CC and Suits.
Thank you, Rod. Look forward to that.
Well, they won the line of scrimmage in that first half like they did last week. See what the Lions come up with when they go in a couple minutes here.
Lions need to close the gap. They've got 2nd and 5. Underneath, Arsenault the catch. Stumble. Bubble. Down. Short. Looked like he had a line to move the chains and lost his footing.
There he is. Watch how quickly he gets there. And you know when a team and players like Manny Arsenault are fighting it. I mean, yeah, it's intimidating to see Adam Bighill in front of you closing quickly to make the tackle, but Manny Arsenault stumbling around, it shows you how much the Lions are fighting it right now.
May have had the first down before the stumble and then lost the couple he needed. And Kevin Fogg, but a flag comes down to McGee. A nice Fogg return. McLennan drags him down, but the flag is back around the Winnipeg 42-yard line. Kevin Fogg leading the Canadian Football League in punt return yardage. And 114 against.
During the return, holding, Winnipeg, number 80, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So the call against the youngster, Tyler Henry, out of the University of Alberta.
Let's take a look. Boy, that was like he was in good position in front. I would say that's marginal. But a break for the Lions. Because as I mentioned, it could be worse. Bombers had a field goal hit the upright. That's 20. And been in scoring range twice.
Here's Nichols looking for Dressler, unable to make the one-handed catch.
Coming into today, Andrew Harris in 6 games against the BC Lions, his old team. A real nice, big, fat 6-yard rushing average. You see the 3 touchdowns. Project that over a season. You got 9 touchdowns. You got 2 tonight.
And over 12 yards a catch, or a carry tonight. Yards on the ground for Harris, 2nd and 10. Nichols swings it out to Harris. Winston Rose is there, and this time they bring him down, and it will be the first 2 and out of the night for Winnipeg.
Well, opportunity here for Travis Lulay, and he knows better than anybody. The veteran Lulay in his 10th season knows that even 3 points here could be huge for the BC Lions. I mean, just for their psyche alone, just to get something positive before the half.
Remember last year, Lulay led them back with an 18-point fourth quarter to win a wild one, 45-42.
Well, this is why Wally Buono made the change. I mean,
Rainey, midfield and more. Chris Rainey finally taken down inside the 35-yard line. So they set it up with 1:40 to go for Lulay in the offense.
great return, great field position. Chris Rainey's now been forced to play most of the snaps on offense as well with the injury to Jeremiah Johnson. It's his best of the night.
45-yard punt brought back 41 yards.
Chris, you bring Travis Lulay off the bench and you make the change at quarterback. We heard Wally Buono say it. I mean, he was quite frank that the reason this team, according to Wally Buono, the reason that this team has struggled badly in the last 2 weeks is they're not getting the play out of Jonathan Jennings at quarterback. That's what he said. Well, now's the time that Travis Lulay has got to put points on the board before halftime, get this team excited about the second half.
Thursday Night Football presented by The Brick. Keeps on rolling next week. It's a good one. Rough Riders go head-to-head with the Tiger Cats. And don't miss a halftime performance by the Beaches. Action gets underway 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network.
Ludacris was great last night in Edmonton.
I think he's got a new fan.
Well, I may be, you know, like I might be downloading a couple.
And I'm told that the Rec Laws are now number 6 on the country charts with
3rd and 1 on the gun.
Long live the night.
Yeah. 3rd and 1 from the gun, and that hurt the Lions tonight. They went 3rd and 1 from the gun.
Not a good.
Didn't get it.
Frank Renault was shaken up. He's been helped to the sidelines. And now what do the Lions do with that Rainey return? They'll dump it off to Rainey. A cut inside. Close to another first down.
Got lots of time.
Santos knocks the tackle, but Chris Rainey now the featured back in the absence of Jeremiah Johnson.
Jarius Jackson just sticks with the playbook. Now he's important minute 33 here. Get some points on the board. A major is a big step in the right direction. That may be a tall order against this Bomber defense.
Lions have not had a 200-yard passing game yet this year, and they have not had 300 net yards of offense in a game yet this season. And they are not on pace to change that so far tonight. Well, this time the short yardage crew will come on. Lulay to the sidelines. Now, 2nd and inches, do you have something
Absolutely.
for Cody Fajardo, or do you just get the first down and get Lulay back out there?
Well, right now Mo Leggett is talking to the secondary. He just turned around to go back and face, but number 31, one of their captains, said, "Be aware."
They're going to just try and get the first down, and they will.
Lots and lots of time here to run the offense. And what will Richie Hall dial up here? Pressure on Travis Lulay and just see if that O-line for BC can handle it, especially with Chris Rainey back there trying to pick up blitz. Jeremiah Johnson is a great back in pass protection. We'll see if Chris Rainey can do the same. He's back there in that tailback spot now.
4 receivers near side, and now Rainey waggles out of the backfield. So 6 receivers out. Lulay to the sidelines. Catch made, Jack Johnson. Bounced out by Randall. And close to another first down.
Yeah, not bad idea to get Rainey out on that side. Because of his speed, he's going to get the attention. He's going to get the attention of the defensive backfield. There's Rainey. Here's the guy who makes the catch on the sideline right here in Shaq Johnson, but Rainey gets the assist because he opens it up. He's got the attention of the DBs. You see how they went 2 steps with Rainey and then reacted late.
Mark just short of the first down, so Fajardo back in. And the inches needed, the inches he gets. Into the final minute here. But if the Lions can get into the end zone, it completely changes the complexion of this first half.
Well, it does. And like I said, that's an important piece of mind that it's possible.
But now the Winnipeg defense digs in.
And it gets tougher inside the 20. The windows get a little smaller.
Brady again out, so 6 receivers. Lule a pump, looking for Collins. Tight coverage, can't make the catch. Looking for a flag, but none on the turf. Tynell Cooper, blanket coverage.
They tested Tynell Cooper last week, and he came up with 6 tackles, played well in coverage. Lions wanted pass interference. He didn't look back. And I believe Travis Lule is going to take a hit here. Had to stand in there on the pump fake, and he takes the biggest hit that he's taken all night.
Drake Nevis gets home, 2nd and 10. Here comes Heat again. That one tipped, end zone. Is it intercepted? Mo Leggett's got it. There is a flag now. And an injured BC Lion as well. Joel Figueroa on the limp.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Winnipeg, number 38, half distance goal. Automatic first down.
That's Ian Wild. Gets flagged for roughing the passer.
I thought the timing when I watched it live was pretty good by Ian Wild. Let's take a look, and when Lule throws it, could he have got off? He didn't hit with his helmet, didn't hit with the crown of his helmet. The only question was it late? I'm not sure it was.
A guy that doesn't take many penalties.
No, I would honestly question that one, and I think that's exactly what Ian Wild is doing.
Well, the big left tackle Figueroa hangs in there. David Mackey sets up at tight end. 1st and goal from the 5. In the hands of Rainey, not much.
Let's go back and show you that one more time. I think Bomber fans want to see it. That again, it's roughing the passer. It wasn't a low hit. It wasn't a helmet hit. It's going to come from this side. Let's take a look. Regular speed, ball gone now. Boom. I don't think there's any way Ian Wild could have broken off of that. See if the Lions can convert.
2nd and goal. Running out of time. This might be the final play. End zone touchdown. No drop. Burnham can't hang on, and 0's on the clock. Well, that's the kind of first half it's been. That's the kind of season it's been.
They're fighting it. Saw Manny Arsenal stumble short of the first down. One of the most sure-handed receivers in the league last year.
And does Fogg strip it there at the very end to save a touchdown? In his hands. And Fogg with the wrap knocks it loose. And they come away empty-handed. Bombers by 17 at the half. Here's Rod Smith.
Thank you, Chris. Joined by the panel of Davis Sanchez. Calling you Ches from now on. That's what I should be doing. No more Davis here. Matt Dunnigan and Milt Stegall. Wow. Hey, your old squad there. I mean, we were going to talk about how...
Ches is not loving that.
No, he's not. Fragile confidence to begin with. They had a chance, too, to get some of their confidence back, just the way that half ended.
They can't get out of their own way, and that's classic right there of what's been happening to the BC Lions. The conversation all week was who's going to start at quarterback. I think the one stimulating that conversation, guys, might have been that defense trying to deflect. No one talked about this defense. This is the number 9 defense in the league, averaging letting 30 points a game, man, and no one's talking about it. Wally Buono, he went out and just said this week about Matt Nichols' comments about him not getting hit. And for Matt Nichols, so watch what he says. Well, you know that Wally Buono wants to get after. Yeah, but he wants to get after Matt Nichols.
Right.
But the reality is he can't. He can't. Because he does not trust that secondary. You watched that film last week, guys. They didn't blitz at all. 4-man rush, maybe a couple 5-man, a lot of 3-man rush. They can't blitz because they don't trust the secondary. And on the other end, when they play coverage and rush 4, they can't get there. So they can't get out of their own way. That's the issue with the BC Lions.
Well, that issue also has a lot to do with what Winnipeg's doing offensively. Yeah. I mean, they're keeping them off balance. I will give the BC Lions credit. They controlled the football more than Winnipeg did in the first quarter, but Winnipeg didn't have to because they're just gutting it with a lot of misdirection, mixing in a lot of different people. You see Andrew Harris going off in the first half, and here, moving the pocket. I love this. Wolodarski, again, over the top. What a great supplemental draft pickup for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And here, one-on-one, pitch and catch, little fade, go to Darvin Adams. You can throw in Dembski, a whole lot of that. You're seeing reverses here. Paul Police is working some magic, going to work on that defense right now. So it's just not Travis Lilley. Hey, but, Milt, and there's another aspect of that football team that's on fire right now.
You talk about offense, you talk about defense. Now let's talk about special teams. My favorite part of the game.
Equal opportunities.
Equal opportunities. And when you play a team back-to-back, you're usually not going to make too many changes, especially when you win the game. But Mike O'Shea and special teams coordinator Mike Boudreau, they saw something right here. They saw that the BC Lions weren't staying home, and they had a great kicker. But the secret on it is Mike Miller makes a great play. If he catches this ball on the ground, he's not at 10 yards. He makes a great play. He jumps up in the air. He's beyond 10 yards, and they get the ball back. That's very creative, and that's from profound film study right there by Mike O'Shea and the special teams coordinator.
Timely, too. Caught him napping.
Yeah.
They were sleeping. And it's getting out coached right there. That's what that is.
Well, what about Travis Lilley? 12 for 18, under 100 yards passing. It certainly could have been better. I mean, they had some chances, including at the end of the half. How would you rate his overall play?
Well, he's not out there alone. I said the same thing about Jonathan Jennings. See, I saw people want to play well for Travis Lilley. They want to win the game. They want to do good things. Look at this throw. This is a dart. On second and long, he finds Manny Arsenal, getting him involved. But here, this play was, this is the ball came out funny. I don't know if he had pressure in his face to alter his throwing motion, but that was a god-awful throw. Took points off the board. Good thing is, Winnipeg didn't get any points off of that turnover, right? Because you hit an upright by Medlock, and that one right there, you got to squeeze it. So,
you got to make that play.
We were on that board last night talking about Jonathan Jennings, right? And he's not out there by himself. Everybody else making mistakes on this football team.
That last play before that half, you got to make that play.
Absolutely.
No question.
That would have made it 17-7 and got them back in this football game. As it stands, they are down by 17. Coming up, the suspension of Dylan Wynn of the Argos for last night. We're going to talk about it here. CFL on TSN.
Well, changing quarterback for the BC Lions. Travis Lilley gets start number 70.
And it's Harris again. High stepping inside the 5. Touchdown. Going deep into the end zone. Jump ball, and he throws an interception. Andrew Harris continues to haunt his old team.
This happened last night at Edmonton. Late in the game, C.J. Gable on the run. Now, Troy Davis hits him first, but it's that hit. The one when he was already down and vulnerable by Dylan Wynn that cost Wynn a one-game suspension. That was announced earlier today by the Canadian Football League. Gable leaving the game and went through concussion protocol after that. So the CFL, quick to react, Milt. Did they get it right?
I think so. First of all, the play was disgusting. Let's start with that. But I think they got it right. When you talk about CFL players, you're not talking about much money. You're talking about taking one game check. That's going to hurt a player. Hopefully they think about that, but that's going to hurt a player pockets. It may change your Christmas.
It ain't about money.
But that's what they're doing, and their hope is that affects the player and that affects future players from making those same plays. Because that's what it's about.
Obviously the message wasn't sent after Kyrie St-Bear 2 weeks ago was suspended for a game, and because you're still seeing this type of play. And I think it could have been bigger. I think it would have been a couple of weeks. And now you're talking about even more money, Milt, but it ain't about that. It's about getting the game right, taking that out of it, because that is not right. And I know that he didn't have a precedent, and he wasn't like, much like Kyrus, because Kyrus has been known to live on that edge. But that there was clear, and I think it easily could have been 2 weeks.
Not a repeat offender. We all want this out of the game. I think that's right. Universal. We all want this out of the game. We see the results it's had. But if it's not a repeat offender, guys, things happen in the heat of the game. Things happen. I don't agree with
it. Take it out of the game.
I don't agree with it.
I don't care
but
if
it happens.
Done it or not.
It happens.
But one game, they get it right with one game?
They got it right.
Yeah.
One game.
Yeah. So not two or anything else like that.
I think it could have been more, Rod.
Okay, and something. It is money, but the Argos are going to be missing Dylan Wynn as well for their next game. That hurts them. at the half, and it's the Blue Bombers leading 17-0. We'll be back. All Bombers at the half. Here's Milt with the stats.
Well, the talk coming into this game for the BC Lions was they need to make a change at quarterback. And Davis alluded to this earlier. The defense about that Chaz.
Here's Andrew Nell with Farhan Lalji.
I know you're on the sidelines watching it, but how big was that to not only not give up a touchdown, but no points at all with zeros on the clock?
Absolutely stellar in our defense. To hold them to no points, big play there to knock that out. Our defense is playing lights out right now.
Offense as well. You've got a lot of balance, a lot of guys touching the ball, and again, a dominant run game in the first half.
Yeah, we're mixing it up really well. Dempsey's getting some touches. We're doing lots of good stuff in the play action, so we just got to keep mixing it up. And when we're up a couple of touchdowns, it allows Lap to open the playbook up a little bit.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
He also has 3 catches for 22 yards, so 84 combined. Not a bad half for Andrew Harris or the Bombers, and it could have been closer. Burnham had it. Looked like a touchdown at the end of the half. Instead, they're being shut out. 17-0. Second half coming up.
Vancouver Scenics score for the home side as we head to the second half. But first, Farhan Lalji with Travis Lulay.
Travis, let's start with the last couple of plays. It seemed like there was a lot of time to at least get a third down field goal off. To come away with no points, how disappointing was it?
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's just an opportunity. That's the biggest difference in this game, right? We've had 2 good red zone opportunities. I lost the ball on the first drive, and that's on me. That can't happen, right? We came away with no points. And then right there at the end of the half, that's the biggest difference in this football game right now. So they did a good job keeping us off the field for a little bit there in the second quarter. We just got to keep chugging. You don't get it back in one play.
Beyond that for you, and it's been a while since you played, how you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I was a little off on a throw or two, but my eyes have been pretty good. I feel pretty settled in. Just got to keep executing.
Thanks, Fred.
Thanks.
93 passing yards for Lulay in the first half. Only 130 net yards offensively for BC.
Yeah, and just kind of broke down the numbers. He's 12 of 18, 12 of 13, under 20 yards. So as he's trying to sort of make this comeback after not playing for such a long time, he's 0-5 on deep balls, over 20 yards. And that's the tougher one to complete. Need that accuracy, so we'll see if he dials it in this second half.
They do get their hands on the football first. Rainey from his 10. Stutter step, and he's got more room. And he has been the best BC Lions so far tonight.
I think the guys on the panel, knocked it out of the park when they said that it's not just Lulay. Yeah, he was a little off, a little bit of rust early. This is the one that he said got away with on him, and he can't do that. He put that on himself, took full responsibility, but he needs some help. He needs some catches. He needs those big plays made, especially late in the half. He had Burnham get 7 points on the board, maybe 8, and it's knocked out of there. So he needs some help from his receivers and the BC defense.
Clock management and that missed third down issues for BC in the first half, and Richie Hall's group pretty stout on defense. There's Santos knocks against D'Arsenault.
Boy, that was a bang play is what they call them. There's again that throw in that short to intermediate zone that Lulay is just trying to kind of find his way as he comes back. But look at that hit as Manny Arsenault. Bang.
Arsenault's 5th catch. 2nd and 3. And they're not going to get it. Rainey smothered there. Opala-Ugo and Nevis combine on the tackle. 3rd down and a decision. They're going to mark it 2 yards short of the first down. And it looks like the offense is going to stay out.
They are. They're sending in 2 backs and rolling Lavala. So Corey Watson goes out.
Big fullback. And
here comes
now
Fajardo
for Lulay.
20-second clock has not started, so there's the whistle.
Not sure if this is quarterback sneak territory or not. Fajardo trying to get outside.
No, sir.
And he got stacked up.
No shot.
Had to get to the 53, and he didn't, I think, pierce the line of scrimmage.
Well, 2 things. This is the second, 3rd, and short yardage. It's not a yard, it's not inside of a yard, it's a full 2 yards, maybe even a little beyond that. And for the Lions to gamble, almost a sign of desperation there, and not even close.
And Adam Bighill at the bottom of the pile with the stop.
The other thing that the Lions have to concern themselves with now, too, that's the second time Joel Figueroa, their left tackle, has got up limping badly.
No, a takeaway for the Bombers defense. Right to work goes Nichols. Swings it to the speedy Nick Dembski. Trying to get outside, and this time unable to do so. He gets tossed out by Gary Peters for a loss of 1 or 2 at the line 54. Well, they're going to give him forward progress to the 52, and so let's call it 2nd and 11.
We have not mentioned tonight off-season acquisition Odell Willis. Because of this play, the play of this Bomber offensive line and offense.
No defensive plays made yet by 11. 2nd down, Dembski the catch, a straight arm against Peters. And let's see where they mark him, close to the 1st down. Just inside the 42-yard line.
If he didn't get it, he's inches away, not a couple of yards away. Again, another stiff arm. Gary Peters has a crack here, a chance to make that tackle. Well short of the 1st down, but that 2nd effort. All of a sudden, Nick Dembski.
I was going to say, 9th touch in the game for Dembski.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're going to 3rd down.
Now Bradbury shows you how close he got.
Saying about Nick Dembski for the last couple of years, the last 2 years when he was in Saskatchewan, that if not for some unlucky injuries, I think he's a 1,000-yard receiver that can be used in so many different ways. He's got that versatility. We've seen him run out of the backfield. He can play the teams. He can return kicks.
Yeah, we've seen that former running back status in the game. He has 6 catches for 32, and he's carried the ball 3 times for 29. So 61 yards. Streveler in on the 3rd down sneak, and he will have it. In behind Matthias Gosen and Suk Chung. The number 2 pick in 2015. Chung, a 4th-year man now from Port Coquitlam. And his family here in numbers tonight. They tell us probably at least 50 are here, including mom, dad, and his sister.
All-star at the U of Calgary, but grew up right here in the Lower Mainland.
Well, Mike Gaucher talked about his maturation in his 4th year. He said in the 1st year he got away with his savagery.
I love that.
That's what it took to just survive the 1st year. Savagery. Now he's a well-skilled. He can point a 1st down out too.
Boy, what a catch by Darvin Adams. This was really the only option for Matt Nichols as he got out here on the edge. His primary target underneath, I believe, was Andrew Harris, who was covered well, and look at that, toes in bounds.
Well, there is a challenge from the Lions sidelines. They want to know if he had secured the ball with the toes on the carpet. So the command center will review
BC
this.
is challenging the previous play of a complete pass.
Are the feet down? Does he have control on the sliding footwork of Darvin Adams? Well, mic'd up players to behind-the-scenes action. It's CFL Wired.
Yeah, that's all you, 9-7.
They're not normally over here. He's not normally over here. Nah.
Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, across the TSN network.
After review, the ruling on the field stands of a completed pass. 1st down.
Let's take one more look. I didn't think there was any question. Toes in bounds. Control. Didn't drop it when he landed on the turf. interesting time to challenge.
Yeah, not a
10-yard out.
Not a game-changing play either to challenge. And now Junior Luke jumps the gun. Getting confirmation whether or not anybody drew Luke offside.
Offside, BC, number 91. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, the big boys have been a story, haven't they?
Well, they really are. I mean, you know, the play calling has really helped them to just dominate that line of scrimmage. Again, we haven't talked about Gabe Napton, Odell Willis,
Andrew Harris in behind the big boys, and he is dragged down inside the 10-yard line.
Watch left tackle Stanley Bryant. Watch him just step up here and just dominate his man. I mean, it's a whole series of little one-on-one battles. 166. He's got an Odell Willis there. He just locked him out. Come right out. Hands inside. Look at the drive blocks there from Patrick Neufeld.
Yeah, Neufeld took Solomon Elimimian and put him on roller skates too.
Goes through the tackle to the second and drives him back.
Harris again trying to get outside, and he'll be forced out at the 4-yard line. Anthony Orange stuck with him.
Bombers going with that tight end set with Michael Couture in there, and they're trying to run off that side.
Harris already with 2 touchdowns in the game. Nichols out. Strebler comes in. 2nd and goal. And Chris Strebler scored 4 times. He's going to try to make it 5. Follows the blocking. Gets stacked up and pushed back. Gabriel Napton finished him off.
Oh, there's a little fight there from the Lions, and it was basic blocking. Everybody up front for the Bombers just head off to the right, slide over, and take the opposite colored jersey and try and blow it up. And like TJ Lee stepped up,
was key, wasn't he?
He turned it inside.
So Strebler stays in. Couture checks back in along with Mike Miller. They're going to go for it. 3rd and goal from the 2. And the Lions beef up their defensive line. Max Ford checks in. And it's Strebler. Goal line. Not going to get there. And this time it's the Lions with a stop and a turnover on downs. Well, the Bombers have won most of the battles in the trenches tonight. This time, Elimimian says no.
Well, you never know where that spark may come from to cue the comeback. Maybe it's here on the goal line. Solomon Elimimian, little help from Gabe Napton as he crashes down. See 55 get first contact right there. He sells out, and then Solomon Elimimian steps into that hole.
Fourth tackle of the game for the leader, and Mark Washington, his group needed that. So now the Lions take over. 109 yards away from where they want to be. And they start with a pass broken up by Randall, intended for Collins, and Chris Randall almost took one back.
Well, he did, but, you know, Ricky Collins got to understand now, when he runs this curl, he's got to keep working back to the football and back to Travis Lulay. He just kind of sat on it. Now he comes down here and he just sort of sits there. Now watch, come back, keep coming back. 2-3 steps back to the football. You got to beat the DB there and help your quarterback out. I'll put that one on Collins. It's a nice break by Chris Randall, but Collins got to come back to the ball.
7-year vet, so steady on the corner. 2nd and 10. Wide side, and Jack Johnson loose there. And has a first down, and now the Lions have a little breathing room.
It's a big play. It looked like Lule had to try and throw it around the post on it. He's got a long way to get this ball out. That's where the read took him because of the zone look that Winnipeg gave him. So the flat area, the outside, is the open area. It's just not an easy throw to get it there.
Longest connection of the day for Lule. A 20-yard pickup. He's at 120 in the game, and now directs traffic with Collins and Burnham coming to the near side. 4-man rush. Lule fires. Incomplete. Wanted Arsenault.
Yeah, that pre-snap stuff was Lule trying to get his receivers to the wide side of the field so that they could get the one-on-one with Manny Arsenault on the backside. That was the whole idea. There's Arsenault by himself, trying to get a one-on-one to get him involved, and he just can't get Chris Randall out of his back pedal. He kind of opens up, he runs the route with him, and that's the second play in a row that he's been real close to a pick.
Randall had one last week against BC. 2nd and 10. Wide side again. Burnham stretching out for it. If he made the catch, it will be well short of the first down. And they do mark it as a reception, but the punt team comes on.
Well, a couple plays to get some breathing room anyway, and the goal line stand for BC to again keep Winnipeg within range. I think another score by the Bombers and the lights may go out.
Ty Long leads the league in punt average, 51.8. Long at the 40. And brought down around the 47-yard line. Tackle on the play made by Lacombo. 45 on the punt, 7 on the return. Well, did anybody wish Matt Dunigan happy anniversary? 24 years ago on this day. 713, that's not a typo.
No.
713 passing yards in a 50-35 victory over the Edmonton Eskimos.
A number that is just unthinkable, really. And I guarantee you that's the day you don't want to be a DB that day.
There's Nichols, incomplete. Harris can't make the catch.
We sat down, Chris, with Chris Streveler when he was starting for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and we mentioned Matt Dunigan and said, you know, there was one game with the Bombers, 713 yards, and he gave it the, what? how many? You sure? Yeah. 713, one game. And Matty told me, he's told me this many times, I've said it, he left him over 100 out there. He could have got to 800.
That's a terrific 2-game total. 2nd and 10. Nichols, tight coverage, and Harris brings it down. Working against Dyshawn Davis. He'll be short of the first down, but a nice catch by 33.
You know, the Lions played better on defense in the second half. Now, the game was out of reach last week, so that is a big factor, but they did play better in the second half, and I see from that goal line stand a defense competing. That was, you know, Dyshawn Davis step for step. No extra yards there.
This is the area of the field where Mike O'Shea's been known to have some tricks up his sleeve, but Medlock's going to boot that away.
Away from Rainey.
Did a nice job, didn't he? Bouncing around inside the 10. Rainey picks it up, but nowhere to go as he is bumped out of bounds by Kyrie Wilson. A 45-yard punt on a long field for Lule. Well, the rematch of the 2011 Grey Cup, which was here at BC Place Stadium. Travis Lule was at quarterback. There was Andrew Harris scoring for the other guys. Kyrie Johnson got loose for a big play in that game. As the Lions went on to win. Odell Willis had a chance to change the complexion of that game because some of the faces here, there's G-Roy Simon, Solomon Elamimian with his hands on the cup, and there are some of the names still involved, still here. Some wearing different colors now.
Yeah.
And a guy back on the panel, Davis Sanchez, was part of the BC Lions that year, has a ring from 2011. Deep start for BC. Take the hitch, they screen to Rainey. Big Hill in pursuit, and Rainey gets away and then ran into a teammate, but does have a first down.
So let's welcome Davis Sanchez. And Davis, I got to tell you, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of our team. I got another defensive back in the crew.
You've been waiting for this, Suits. I'm glad to join you, buddy.
What do you think of what you're seeing so far with the BC Lions?
There's a big play by Jackson Jeffcoat.
This is definitely a group that's struggling to find their way. When we're talking defense, Suits, like I said at halftime, if they blitz, they're in trouble because I don't think they trust their DBs quite yet.
Major foul, horse collar tackle. Winnipeg number 94, 15 yards from the original line of scrimmage, automatic first down.
And when they play coverage, they weren't getting there with four.
No,
so
it was part of
that's to be expected when you have this many new guys in that defense. You know, it takes time to gel, and they're struggling.
What do you remember from that season? I know you were injured in that season back we just showed, but
I'll tell you what, I started the first 5 games of that year, 2011. If you know the record after that, after 5 games, we were 0-5. I went on injured reserve. They won 11 in a row and the Grey Cup.
That'll give a guy complex. Corey Watson a catch, and after that Jeffcoat penalty, first down catch by Watson, and the Lions are up at midfield.
Hey, Matty, I wanted to ask you a quick one. How many yards did you leave out there? Were there a couple of drops or something, or did you miss a couple of receivers?
Suits, I missed a couple guys. I'm not going to throw any in the bus. I missed a couple guys. We left a lot out there. Could have had 850.
850. Little sidearm toss there by Lule to complete one to Arsenault.
And I went back and looked and saw an interview, and you talked about your O-line in that one. We're watching great O-line play here from the Bombers tonight.
Yeah, we are.
And you had a great group when that 7-13 happened.
Yeah, we did. You know, Garrell, McNeil, Van Conant, Blackie, Walby, and everybody's been talking to me about that all day long. I wasn't out there alone, brother. I had a lot of people make that day happen.
Well, there's been the spark plug for the BC Lions tonight, trying to make something happen. And Chris Rainey, catch and run for 34.
Yeah, good speed outside. This is where you can utilize the gifts that Chris Rainey has. He has that great speed, that acceleration, and building on some momentum here.
It's to Collins, down to the 5. Ricky Collins to the goal line, and they're going to mark him at the 1.
Now let's see if the knee was down first. Even if it's close to a touchdown, they are reviewed automatically. Whether it's ruled to score or ruled down by contact, they are reviewing it as we speak. So let's take a look if the knee touched before the ball. Yep, knee was down. Good call by the official. It's down on the 1-yard line.
Kevin Fogg saves the touchdown, but they knock on the door here.
Building off that goal line standstill a little bit. Took a punt, another defensive stop, but.
And now a man short. They've got to use a timeout.
Timeout, BC.
Boy, this team is fighting it at every turn.
And now a whole different complement will come onto the field. They had big team in, but not enough. And now some of the receiving core check back in. Collins, Johnson, and Arsenault.
Now these short yardage plays haven't been gimmies for the BC Lions. Gonna block Adam Bighill.
7th play of the drive. Fajardo. Touchdown. Figueroa slow to get up again, but the Lions finally hit Painter tonight.
Boy, I thought Big Hill might get him in the backfield too, because it wasn't from lack of try. You're going to see number 4 from the left of your screen come right over the top right there and just miss Fajardo, roll off the pile, and he gets across that goal line. Really has started to build from the goal line stand from Solomon Elimimian. They got out of that hole, had to punt it, but then got the 2 and out. A couple of plays by Rainey, and the Lions are on the board.
So a 7-play, 98-yard drive. Ty Long adds the convert. And it's a 10-point game late here in the third quarter.
Watch Adam Big Hill. I mean, I agree with his coach, Michael O'Shea, when he said he's just fun to watch. He's fun to watch play this game. He lays it on the line every play. Now, good on Fajardo, get nice and low, get the pad level down, and sneak through that gap between the center and the guard so that he isn't a target for number 4 coming over the top. That's why I missed, but great effort by Big Hill.
Travis Luley now at 206 passing yards, and that the first time this season the Lion quarterback has got over 200.
Good job on the blocks outside.
As they go right back to the tablet to check on the drive. Johnny Augustine back. Home team has made a lot of mistakes tonight, but might be just hanging around here. The newcomer Henry got some speed and is gained tackled around the 27. Bombers will have a back-to-back against the Argos next. Since 1996, they've had 41 back-to-backs. They've swept only 4 of them, trying to make it 5 if they can close this one out tonight. Andrew Harris, and he carries the pile. An inspired run by Harris to try and send a message that the Lions are still trailing here and the Bombers are in control.
When he runs sometimes, Andrew Harris almost looks like he's out of control sometimes. As everything's moving, his arms are pumping, the legs are pumping, the shoulders are banging. He's just kind of spinning and twisting and turning and fighting for every yard that he can get. That's an impressive run. Wow.
124 yards from scrimmage for Harris. This time stacked up around the line of scrimmage.
Those are the kind of runs that can sort of break your will as a defender. It's tough. When you think you got him, in the backfield, he spins out of it, and then Paul LaPolice, of course, uses him in a lot of different ways, so it's tough to track him or just put Solomon on him one-on-one. But he starts breaking tackles and spinning out of arm tackles, and when guys try to just throw a shoulder in there, you're not going to tackle Andrew Harris with a shoulder. You're going to need the entire group to rally to him.
5 away from his 18th 100-yard gain, and 2 last year, trying to make it 2 in as many weeks. Nichols, far side, a completion, and a first down as Darvin Adams makes the grab in front of Anthony Orange.
Watch how he's starting to now draw attention. Andrew Harris comes out of the backfield here, and you're going to see 2 linebackers, Otha Foster and Solomon Elimimian, trying to bounce out to him. See, watch, they see him now. Both these guys have been spying this guy coming out of the backfield. Nichols just goes to the other side of the field.
Take the hitch, looking deep, third read was Dressler, and it's intercepted. intercepted. Winston Rose comes up with the football. Wolotarski the tackle, but the BC Lions get it back.
Make some plays on D now. Been a momentum shift here since the goal line stand, and that's another big play now. Nichols just flat out overthrows this one. Looks like he had something with the play action to Andrew Harris, drawing the linebackers close, but that ball way to the outside of Weston Dressler. Really no chance at it.
Turnovers now even at 3 apiece. Nichols has tossed a pair of interceptions. The one turnover on downs for the Bombers.
Last year before injured Matt Nichols with the best touchdown interception ratio in the league. Just 8 picks.
Last play barring a penalty here in the third quarter. Lule steps up, looking for Collins, jump ball, and incomplete. Chris Randall has been solid on the corner, although he comes up limping.
Yeah, that he's trying to stay in there.
Well, he may have some time here because...
Major foul, roughing the passer. Winnipeg number 94. 15 yards, automatic first down. One more play in this quarter.
So he does have to stay out for one more play before they change ends. Jackson Jeffcoat gets flagged.
There's Jeffcoat. That 2-point stance, a little stunned inside. Took a step up the field and then came up high on the quarterback. That one for sure, when you hit the quarterback in the head, you're going to get called. First half one on Ian Wild, didn't like that call, but that one.
So off the 47, first down. 5 receivers out. Rainey releases. Pass caught by Johnson, out of bounds at midfield on the final play of the third quarter. 17-0 at the half, Winnipeg. Lions get a goal line stand and a long touchdown march here in the third quarter. And it's getting interesting here at BC Place. Turnovers can change the course of a game, and a couple of big Winnipeg turnovers may have opened the door a crack for the Lions.
Well, I think it starts for the Lions on that goal line stand, and that hit from Solomon Elimimian and Gabe Napton helping on the goal line stand down there. That was Strebler back to back, and you know, you could question whether or not maybe that's Andrew Harris time when you're down inside the 5-yard line. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have gone away from the run a little bit, over 100 yards in the first half, just 39 in the third quarter.
Hasn't been a perfect game for Travis Lule, but it looks like he's feeling more comfortable than maybe in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know if we can say that it was this huge spark that the Lions were sort of expecting. It's taken some time for Lule, and that's, you know, I mean, that's fair. He's not played in a long, long time. I mean, try and get his feet underneath him and complete a couple of those long balls. That's going to help.
2nd and 2, inside Rainey, got a first down, got second level, and dropped around the Winnipeg 43.
But they were in striking distance, and all the bad things that have happened, the penalties, the drops, the issues the Lions have had as they fought it in the first half. Now it's starting to settle in and make some plays.
Correct snap, Rainey. That doesn't go very far, and there is a holding call against BC, so an option for Winnipeg to...
Holding BC number 18. 10-yard penalty remains first down.
Corey Watson, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Now, like we heard when we had the live mics on last night in Edmonton, I believe it was Mark Trestman who said in a situation like this, we got 1st and 20, you're now looking at trying to get half of it on first down. You're looking at your basically your 2nd and 10 plays twice. You heard him say that when he was in the situation last night.
Could have been 2nd and 10, but closer to tie-long field goal range, so they take the penalty. It's close to being offside, no call. A shot, incomplete, intended for Watson, and a flag in the Lion backfield.
Major foul, roughing the passer.
That's 3.
Winnipeg, number 67. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Corey Johnson this time.
Got his hand in the ground. Inside stunt. Let's see. Ball gone. Definitely a penalty.
Trouble there on the handoff between Lule and Rainey. Santos knocks the tackle. And it's going to be 2nd and long.
Last one just looked like almost a lazy play by Corey Johnson to extend this drive when they had him in 1st and 20.
Put him potentially in field goal range. Gives them a fresh set of downs. And
sucking wind a little too.
Second and 10 from the 39. Pressure. Lule hit as he delivered it. Tristan Opolugo.
Talked about Joel Figueroa having some issues tonight, and when I say that, I mean injury issues. He's got up slow a couple times, been limping to the sideline that time. Tristan Opolugo coming around the edge just ran right by him. And he's a little bit nicked.
And he's been shaken up. Opolugo was in some difficulty, and
well, they didn't have the right complement for this field goal return team. And so Adam Bighill saw Opolugo and said, you got to go down so we can get the right guys out there. He was supposed to be out there on this field goal return team, realized it, and now they get the training staff out. He's going to miss 3. Let's see. But he's on right now he's going off the field because he's got something, looked like he got poked in the eye or something, but he's on the field goal return team. And then Adam Bighill says, just go down. What it isn't is a fake injury. It's just,
no, he's legitimately hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
If he got off on the sidelines, the Bombers might have had to.
They were a man short.
They improvised very quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got up after contact with Lule and didn't look right, but now Ty Long trying to get it within a converted touchdown. From 46 out, would be his longest of the year. Got it. Well, it's 17-10. Just over 2 minutes into the 4th quarter. Opolugo with a big defensive play, but the Lions get points on the board. Friday's a summer belong to space with back-to-back action-packed hits. The season premiere of Winona Earp, followed by all-new Killjoys. Friday starting at 9 Eastern, only on Space. Well, it's a one-score game. BC trying to battle back. Again, had an 18-point comeback last year, 45-42 win, engineered by Lule. And Nichols trying to get the Bombers going again. And there is Harris, and he gets gang tackled by the Lion defense. That time, everybody getting involved.
Now passing down here, and like David Sanchez and I were talking about when he was on with us about the Lions, and they're kind of caught in between here. Do they go with pressure and blitz and then trust their secondary to cover, or do they play coverage behind it, send 4, and let Matt Nichols stay back there in the pocket a little bit longer? I think what they can do is stop the quick game, get up in the face of the receivers and challenge them. If you're going to go down swinging.
Andrew Harris, 102 yards in the game. Flag comes down, and the play doesn't get off.
Now the last time
offside, Winnipeg, number 12, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
So Darius Bowman, quiet tonight.
The last time that Anthony Orange tried to get up and play press on Darvin Adams, he ran right by him, and Matt Nichols hit him in stride. So that's the concern. If Paul LaPolice sees a lot of press to try and take away the quick game, give the D-line a little more time to get there, he's going to go deep with it.
Well, makes it 2nd and 10 after the penalty. Nichols stands in, wide open. Bowman's got it in midfield. catch of the night, and it's a big one, especially after he was the guy that was offside. So a 24-yard pickup, and they're into Lion territory.
Well, he makes up for that procedure penalty with a nice catch. Zone concept, and that under, Wolodarski on the under is designed to draw the coverage up, to open it up behind. Wherever there's an under, there's an over and behind it, and probably a deep post behind that. Different layers, so in against the zone defense, Matt Nichols can find that open zone. He does there on a key play.
Bowman fought that a bit. The confidence of a prolific receiver might not be where it has been in the past. Dembski, the ball carrier, and they continue to do well on first down. Suits, I wanted to ask you about Winston Rose. He has a playlist on his arm, just like Matt Nichols has a playlist. And there it is. You don't often see the DBs with a full playlist that he keeps checking.
Well, first start for Winston Rose, so I think he's probably just that, just double checking some of the calls to make sure the signal and the call match up, so he doesn't have a mental bust.
Probably not as detailed as the one the quarterback has. Here's Harris, got the groove. He's going to outrun the combo, and finally bumped out around the 17-yard line. Another huge night for Andrew Harris against his whole team.
Well, we talked about it at the break. A shift in momentum for BC, and what was missing from the Bomber attack? They went away in the third quarter from running the football. Over 100 yards in the first half, down to just over 30 in the third quarter. And on this drive, 38 yards rushing after that big one from Andrew Harris.
Monster night, up to 129 yards on the ground. Why not give it back to him? Continues to chew it up. Dropped inside the 10.
Let the big boys eat, just cut them loose. And that's when you get the running game going. Then you get those big old linemen leaning forward and getting out of their stance. This is where they start to love it. This is when the Bomber offense is at its best, when they have that balance and mix. A lot of Andrew Harris in there, and then they go play action off of it. Pull the linebackers up, get the D lineman thinking about 33, and then throw it right in behind him.
7 more. He's averaging about 11.5 yards a carry tonight. 2nd and 3. Harris again. This time contained.
Sure,
it's
he
going
got
to be
there.
Close. 3rd and Matt Nichols will tell you how close.
He's trying to be honest. He signaled to Michael O'Shea, and those hands get a little further apart as he keeps looking at it, but within a yard, and Streveler comes out.
Mike Miller checks in. Along with Streveler, Michael O'Shea takes a walk further down to really get a better look at. Want to make sure the quarterback was telling him exactly how far. It is less than a yard. Streveler gonna roll right, and I'm not sure. He didn't get it.
Didn't get there.
Turned it over on downs again.
And Odell Willis steps up and makes the play.
And the plot thickens here at BC Place. Streveler's been automatic, but Odell Willis and Lacombo turn it back.
Always a gamble when you go off the line of scrimmage, go lateral. Watch Odell Willis shoot the gap here, number 11. He's guy's going to make the play, but Chris Streveler last week made a big play doing that against the Lions. I can see it occasionally, but when you only have inside of a yard to get there, and you got the big boys up front pushing the line of scrimmage the way they are, I think you just lower your pad level and go get that first down.
Biggest play for Odell Willis is a BC Lion. So the BC defense stops the Bombers at the goal line, now at the 10. And Lule under duress. Incomplete. Like Craig Rowe was applying pressure. The former Lion. Jake Thomas there as well. Thomas to the sidelines. Three defensive linemen. Big Hill and Knox on the line as well. 2nd and 10. And a good catch there. Ricky Collins brings it down as Lule on the money to move the chains.
Well, good throw and catch. I mean, and one they absolutely had to have. I mean, Ricky Collins on the outside here. Collins has to go up. He knows he's going to get hit from behind because the DBs are playing off, ready to move up and make the hit on that type of play. But watch Travis Lule. Tight spiral getting in there.
You joined us late. Jeremiah Johnson, an ankle injury early in the game. So Chris Rainey has been in at running back. Brian Burnham just 1 catch for 4 yards. And they look for Arsenault, who got in behind coverage, but a stride or two too far by Lule.
Well, first of all, Travis Lule knew he had man-to-man, one-on-one coverage because of his pre-snap motion. He put his receivers into the other side of the field, and Mo Leggett went with them. So that showed that it was man-to-man, and then he had Manny Arsenault on the double move. Everything he wanted for the right defense, and missed him. He struggled tonight getting the rust off in those deep throws.
Lions haven't scored more than 22 points in a game so far this year. 17-10 they trail here. 2nd and 10. 3-man rush. And they're going to get to the quarterback and bring him down. That time, Jackson Jeffcoat hauls down Travis Lule.
Well, this is Richie Hall's group. When you can rush with 3 or 4 and collapse the pocket with those 3 or 4, the former BC Lion, Craig Rowe. Spin move inside, he gets there first.
Devin Fogg stayed on his feet and gets dragged down at the 45. 53-yard punt. 11 for Fogg on the return. We have 6 minutes left. Team separated by a touchdown. World Cup final tomorrow. France, Croatia in a battle to host the World Cup trophy. Our coverage begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific across the TSN network and on CTV. And a shout out to our World Cup crew for a spectacular month of work. So they lead by 7. Nichols fakes to Harris and skips the pass, incomplete. Intended for Dressler. And it's 2nd and 10.
It hasn't been a ton, but Matt Nichols can't leave this game, especially the second half, and say that he hasn't been hit. Didn't get hit all game. Hasn't been sacked, but took a hit there when he tried to get it to Dressler.
Second and 10. Here comes pressure. Nichols in some trouble. Off the back foot, throws incomplete in the direction of Bowman, but just trying to avoid the sack.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, this is what we were talking about. Do you go after him, send the pressure, and say to your secondary, hey, whether you're struggling or not, if we're going down, going after them. And there's Elimimia in the middle. They're coming from the outside with TJ Lee as well. See Lacumbo going on the blitz. Full blitz, get the 2 and out.
So now Rainey is back. Yards. He's averaged 17 per punt return so far. This one going to bounce backwards. And Rainey had some trouble with it. Takes a hit, but a no yards call.
Well, the moment he touched it, the no yards flag comes out. So the Lions are maintaining possession no matter what happened there, but Rainey did get it back.
So that will enhance the field position. Travis Lule, 22 of 33. And the yardage 226, a season high for the Lions.
Has a chance right here to, right at the beginning of a pretty good comeback story possibly for Travis Lulay. But it's a long way to go and a good Bomber defense.
69 yards away. Underneath Rainey. And guess who? Heat-seeking missile.
Well, and this is, you know, when you try to get this matchup, you try to get Rainey out in space where he's in a one-on-one. I mean, this play for Jarius Jackson is designed to do this. Matt Dunnigan talked about it before the game. Get it out in the one-on-one and see who wins. If they're betting the Lions that Rainey can beat Adam Big Hill in that one-on-one and go pick up 15, 20 yards. Richie Hall said, I'll take Big Hill in that bet.
Rainey 6 catches, 71 yards, so he's been their top target. Over the middle, and it's caught. Clutch catch by Corey Watson. And that'll move the sticks.
Blitz picked up nicely. Ian Wild on the blitz, that was picked up. Gave Travis Lulay an extra steamboat.
Second catch of the game, the 300th of Corey Watson's career. And now Arsenault over midfield and down around the 49-yard line. And close to 8 yards for Arsenault. We'll call it 7, and they go without a huddle here. 2nd and 3.
Getting tempo so they can keep Winnipeg in more vanilla looks, more basic defenses.
And 3 down offense now, and Rainey breaks a tackle, but a flag comes down. He would have been close to the first down, might have come up short. Now he grabs an ankle. Man, it's going against BC.
Holding BC, number 63, 10-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Jafon Olafioye, the right tackle. And
well, that expression from Wally Wano says it all. I mean, you don't want a holding call on a run play.
So it'll be 2nd down over, 2nd and long as we hit the 3-minute warning. 5, here's the week 6 schedule. It begins on Thursday night, Rough Riders and the Tiger Cats. Ref Cam Saturday. Lions will be in Ottawa. And the live bike game will be at McMahon, the Alouettes and Stampeders.
My favorite last night in the live mic deal was when William Campbell, after James Franklin got hit, he goes, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You still look pretty."
2nd and 12, draw, Rainey. And Rainey pumps off first contact. What a huge run that is. And even Andrew Harris gives him a tap on the back.
Yeah, and the best tackler at the free safety position in the league. That's who Rainey broke. He broke his tackle. That's Taylor Loeffler. Loeffler came up, he read the play, and Rainey, he had him in the backfield. Just take a look at the left of your screen here, right there. And that was short, but he went for the hit rather than wrapping up. And
got 16 to get a fresh set of downs. Adam Big Hill puts a quick stop to that carry. And they're back in 2nd and long.
Well, and now at this point, you start to wonder if you're on the bubble, 3 downs here. Got to go now.
Second and 8. 5 receivers out. Here comes the Heat. Lulay, open man. It's Brian Burnham. Quiet most of the night, but a huge first down, and they're inside the 15.
Boy, he waited. Travis Lulay waited to pull this out of the toolbox, but he made this happen by bouncing out of the pocket, going to his left, throwing against the flow, against the grain, and hitting Brian Burnham.
Just his 2nd catch of the game, 29 yards. He had the drop in the end zone. Pressure on. Lulay just gets that away to avoid the sack. Well, the Bombers' front has dialed it up here in the 4th quarter.
But not with blitz pressure. So Jarius Jackson is trying to figure out a play on that play set that can beat a zone look or even a 2-man look, meaning man-to-man underneath with 2 guys over the top to help, with only 4-man pressure. Maybe 5, but that should be 5-on-5, one-on-ones up front.
9th play of the drive. 2nd and 10. Sidelines. Caught. Johnson makes a man miss. Cone. And they're going to talk about a touchdown. It will be reviewed, but Shaq Johnson may have a touchdown to get the Lions within a convert of tying it.
And a drive that may have the Lions starting to believe in themselves.
And that's a touchdown. Got to the pylon before the feet tapped down, out of bounds.
I know this is, and I'm not saying to suggest it, but this is that scenario. Would you even think about going for 2 in the win?
It would be more tempting in the final 30 seconds, 20 seconds, but there's a lot of football to be played.
Yeah, no, and that's the fun discussion at the pub.
Yeah.
But no, this is.
And you have to be at the pub a while to make that call.
Exactly.
Long ties it. Well, did they think this was possible at 17-0? Second touchdown of the year for Shaq Johnson.
The play of the drive, though, to me is this one when their veteran quarterback in Travis Lulay, who's had a better second half, first time the team is over 200, he bounces out of the pocket there and finds Brian Burnham for a big first down, and then he gets it out to Shaq Johnson, number 88, the third wide receiver, number 1 outside, who just dies there outside on the sideline, makes a nice move and does the rest on his own. That's a drive that can get you believing.
9 plays, 100 yards, and 251. 10 points off turnovers for the Lions tonight. And maybe as importantly, you think about the Bombers on 2 third-down misses that took maybe at least 10 points, maybe 14 off their score.
Now, there is time for Matt Nichols, who just needs field goal range.
But if they don't move it, there might be time for the Lions as well. Going down to the wire tonight. Ricky Henry off the first contact, and then a late flag at the Bomber bench, and that's going to help Matt Nichols considerably.
Absolutely.
They're only going to be a first down or so away from field goal range. Jordan Herdman takes the penalty.
Major foul unnecessary roughness, BC, number 53, 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Been a lot of costly calls tonight. That one near the top of the list. And up near midfield at the Bomber 54. Nichols in trouble. Willis got there first. Ball's down, but the whistle sounds. And Nichols dropped way back at the 44. And he got touched there. And Odell Willis,
he stepped it up. Yeah, he stepped it up in the fourth quarter, maybe inspired by his teammate Solomon El-Mimian. But he's made some plays. And Davon Coleman, he's going to come from the left of your screen, Odell Willis, but Davon Coleman recovered what looked like was a fumble immediately.
They're going to review this as well.
Now, Wally Buono used...
That ball is out.
The previous play is under review by the command center.
Because we're inside of 3 minutes, so that goes automatically to the command center. And was that ball out before Matt Nichols?
Forward progress had stopped. Ball clearly ripped out before he hit the turf. And Coleman right after it.
That's an important part of the play, too, that Coleman recovered it immediately, kept going to recover it. Because if he acts like the play's dead there, then even if it was ruled a fumble, it'd be a dead ball. But
and if it's Lions football, they're in tie long range already.
if you're wondering if you need to hear a whistle, they don't necessarily need to hear a whistle. It's a matter of not whether the official felt like the play was over and dead before that ball came out. We'll see what they rule.
Well, you learn to expect the unexpected in the Canadian Football League. And let's see if this is a fumble or whether Nichols' forward progress had been stopped.
Well, that's the key. And I don't think there's any question it was stopped, just a matter of when the official felt it was.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. 2nd down, Winnipeg.
Dodge one there, the Bombers.
This is sacked. Ball back at the 46. 2nd and 18, and they need at least 15 to give Medlock a chance. Here they come again. Nichols gets away, loads and fires, and intercepted. Anthony Orange, and he's across midfield at the 50-yard line. This time it is a Lion takeaway. 5th turnover of the night for the Bombers.
Well, even though it's 2nd and 18, it's a tie game, and Matt Nichols knows better. This was one he's going to want back. He's going to watch the video of this play and the circumstance in the game. And Matt Nichols is a veteran. He's rolling the wrong way. He's got pressure on him. He throws it into a crowd. That's nothing but trouble written all over it, and he gets in trouble.
Anthony Orange with his first BC Lion interception.
Let's go! Let's go!
And now a 1st down away from field goal range. Lulay at the controls. Throws incomplete, in and out of the hands of Johnson. And that's really almost all they needed.
Well, and it was almost intercepted.
On the ricochet?
Yes, bounced off the hands of Shaq Johnson. Should have had this one. You can't throw it better than that. And right through the arms. And look at Cooper. He's playing for the tackle, but wow.
Yeah, Kevin Fox stretching out. Almost had a shot at it too. 2nd and 10. Lulay gonna go deep. Wants Burnham. Brings it down. Brian Burnham's got him at the 14. Cooper looking for a push-off. No flag on the play. And Mike O'Shea ready for a challenge.
Now he saved it. The key here is the way that Lulay throws it. Lots of air underneath it. There's the challenge. He's got no choice. I agree. Go ahead and give it a shot. Was there a push-off by Burnham?
You see the back pedal by Cooper, but really was there much of an arm thrust? Might have to get another look. It's an automatic challenge for Michael O'Shea under these circumstances.
It is automatic, but I think Mike O'Shea has a chance here.
Winnipeg is challenging the previous play for offensive pass interference against their number 26. This is being reviewed.
And I'm talking just how Ty Neal Cooper does backpedal on that little bit of a forearm from Burnham. Usually you see the DB and the receiver kind of fighting each other. One's pushing the receiver, the other is pulling, and the DB trying to kind of keep close. But I didn't see Cooper pull himself in there. This will be an interesting call.
He doesn't look confident that the call's going to go his way, does he?
Well, no. Because, you know, I've always said in plays like this, where there's hand fighting or a subtle push here, or a little pull there from the DB, you got to let them play. Let them play and compete for the football. The DBs want it, so do the receivers.
Well, it's one of the strengths of Brian Burnham's game, the ability to come down with these jump balls. He has had a quiet start to the season.
Yeah, it all comes down to that little push.
Was
that enough? Yep.
Closer look.
I'm not really sure. You know, usually I'm not going to sit on the fence. This is a close one. This is a tight one.
And the call on the field was a catch.
That's right.
Is there enough to overturn? If it stands, Lule is at 326 on the night.
No, again, I'm going to defer to I like to let him play, but that one's real close.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. There is no pass interference.
Okay.
Automatic. There we are. First down.
38-yard play.
The command center agrees. Let him play. So now the BC Lions want to grind this clock a little bit, go to the run game in chip shot field goal range.
So just take as much time off and don't allow Matt Nichols and the Bombers back on the field.
Exactly.
Is the goal of the Lions on what would be a remarkable comeback if they can cap it. Rainey straight ahead. Chris Rainey's had a huge night.
Much better effort by the BC defense in the second half. And a throw that Matt Nichols wants back, certainly. Just over a minute to go around midfield.
And that bench wondering how all of this got away from them. And then Lule worked the clock.
Final 5 seconds and then get in the middle. And
Ty Long will come on for what the Lions hope is the final play of the game.
Darvin Adams is coming out. He's not normally on the field goal return team, but he's, I'm sure, coming out to try and come off the edge and see if he can get the block.
Well, the Bombers need a block or for Long to hit the upright, because even a miss here likely
goes through for one. Yep.
Is the winning point. In fact, we have seen Wally Bono from further out back in Saskatchewan a few years ago punted in for the winning, or to attempt to win a game punting it in.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Long from 16. And the Lions, a remarkable comeback win, led by Travis Lule here tonight, when it looked like BC was going to drop out of sight in the Western race.
Cody Fajardo with the hold. Solid, great snap. Hawk finishes it. Wanted to make the quarterback change to get the veteran on the field and see if that would just calm things down for this football team, get them believing again. But I think it was the goal line stand in the second half by Solomon Elimimian that turned the table in this game.
Bombers scored the first 17 points of the game, but the Lions score the final 20. Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, you take a look at the numbers, 28-41, 326 yards. He had a touchdown, 1 reception early in the game. In fact, first series, but Travis Lule did bring what Wally Buono wanted him to bring, was that veteran presence just to calm things down for this football team, get them believing again, and he had that key late fourth quarter drive.
Well, the Lions have life, and despite a tremendous performance by Andrew Harris, the Bombers will leave BC Place Stadium wondering, how the heck did that happen? A stirring comeback here tonight, and the Lions beat the Bombers 20-17. BC now 2-2. The Bombers are 2-3. Hope you enjoyed it. So long from Vancouver. SportsCenter is next.